Have you ever pondered why certain individuals appear to become more isolated as they grow older, while others remain enveloped in affection and companionship? It's more than merely the appearance of wrinkles or the pace of life slowing down. As we age, we inevitably adopt habits, subtle, insidious ones, that can silently alienate others, harm our connections, and complicate life more than necessary. The most terrifying aspect? Many of us remain unaware of our actions until the moment has passed. However, there is a silver lining. This video will guide you through the process of making those changes. We're exploring the unspoken habits that often go unnoticed. The ones that silently invade your existence, robbing you of happiness, well-being, and the connections you cherish with those around you. Meet Julie, a 71-year-old retired librarian, whose journey uncovers how these habits developed and how she transformed her life. What makes it worthwhile to stay tuned until the conclusion? We are revealing 9 unexpected pitfalls that may be impacting you or a loved one at this moment, along with straightforward, actionable solutions to escape them. Prepare to be amazed by number 7. It's the aspect that often goes unnoticed until it has significant consequences. Ultimately, you'll encounter a challenge that has the potential to change your life from this very moment onward. Stay tuned to learn how to identify these habits before they dominate your life, how to restore relationships you believed were gone, and how to embrace aging with intention rather than remorse. If you've ever experienced a sense of disconnection, felt trapped, or found yourself pondering what might be hindering your progress, this message is meant for you. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive in, because the longer you hesitate, the tougher it becomes to make a change. I suggest you subscribe and turn on the notification bell to ensure you catch all the latest videos. Your encouragement is truly appreciated, and if this video resonated with you, consider helping me share these important insights by liking and sharing it. If this video resonates with you, feel free to drop a comment with a 1. If you don't, kindly leave a comment with a 0, so I can understand how to enhance and create better videos for you. Let us commence. First and foremost, falling into a pattern of excessive negativity or criticism. Sarah never envisioned herself as someone who held on to negativity. She always considered herself a person who candidly expressed her thoughts and maintained honesty with those in her vicinity. Yet, as time flowed onward, she became aware of a transformation taking place inside her. Initially, it was understated, a slight sigh now and then, a brief murmur of discontent, but over time, it evolved into a recurring theme she could no longer overlook. The dawn brought with it the all-too-familiar twinges and discomforts of time's passage, and she would quietly lament the inevitability of growing older. It was merely a light-hearted complaint, wasn't it? Yet it quickly seeped into other aspects of her day. As she tuned into the news, her irritation intensified with each unfolding story, engulfed by a profound sense of powerlessness and rage regarding the state of the world. And as she addressed her younger relatives, her words became pointed. "In my time, there was a greater sense of respect," she'd remark, accompanied by an eye roll, as though the younger generation was letting down her own. Initially, she was unaware of the impact it was having on her connections with others. It appeared to be innocuous, merely straightforward thoughts, wouldn't you agree? Yet gradually, dialogues grew more concise. Friends started to shy away from meaningful conversations, instinctively dodging subjects they recognized would trigger yet another outburst. Even her grandchildren, who once looked forward to visiting her, started to find reasons to avoid spending time with her. What Sarah failed to perceive, in that moment, was the gradual and subtle erosion of her negativity. Regardless of the circumstances, it's essential that a conversation leaves everyone feeling better than before. Negativity acts like a heavy burden, dragging individuals down and causing them to withdraw instead of engage. In truth, it's quite simple to fall into a pattern of critique. Life often presents a whirlwind of challenges as the world evolves, particularly when circumstances appear confusing or unsettling. Our bodies no longer operate as they once did. Activities that used to feel effortless, such as shopping, driving, or navigating a smartphone, can unexpectedly turn into sources of irritation. Expressing those feelings can bring a sense of relief. However, when pessimism turns into your usual state, it transforms into a barrier that separates you, instead of serving as a means to navigate your feelings. What are the ways to transform this energy? Begin your discussions with a touch of optimism. Rather than starting with grievances, think about opening with appreciation. I awoke today with a sense of positivity, and the sunset from last night was truly breathtaking, perfect for your daily musings. Good vibes have a tendency to radiate outward. It has an irresistible allure. Individuals are naturally attracted to those who elevate their spirits instead of burdening them. When you find the need to express your feelings, be sure to establish boundaries. Allow yourself a few moments to articulate your frustrations, and then transition to a more productive endeavor. Inquisitiveness holds greater strength than judgment. Inquire about matters that are unclear to you. Rather than brushing aside the interests of your grandkids, be it an app or a game, consider responding with curiosity. Tell me more about that. It fosters a bond, instead of driving them apart. As Sarah began to implement these subtle adjustments, embracing a positive outlook, demonstrating authentic curiosity about her grandkids' experiences, and frequently sharing her appreciation, she observed a significant transformation. Discussions extended over a greater duration. Individuals started to share their thoughts with her once more. Gradually, the comforting embrace of connection that had long been absent surged forth once more. What she discovered, through a difficult journey, was that the energy you project into the world is the energy that returns to you. To forge a bond, one must first extend it. It begins with your words, your presence in the world, and the perspective you decide to embrace. Second place. Neglecting self-care and grooming. Once upon a time, Sarah found joy in adorning herself with beautiful outfits. She held a deep appreciation for her appearance, meticulously selecting the ideal outfit, applying her makeup with precision, and ensuring her hair was flawlessly styled before stepping out the door. Her wardrobe was a stunning array of garments, with blouses in every hue, complemented by a signature fragrance that she donned with poise. Yet, as time unfolded, a transformation started to take shape. It began with subtle shifts, like missing hair appointments or choosing cozy, loose-fitting clothes over the fashionable ensembles she once favored. She started to question, what's the point? She had stopped seeking the approval of others. As the days passed, she noticed that she spent her time in her loungewear, seldom taking a moment to look at her reflection. She assured herself that it was of no consequence. Yet, beneath the surface, a transformation was quietly unfolding within her. She began to sense a change within herself. It wasn't merely a matter of others' perceptions, it was fundamentally about her own self-perception. Sarah started to observe how others interacted with her. Once, strangers would admire her vibrant outfits, but now they hardly glanced her way. Friends who once extended invitations for lunch or a movie began to ask her to join less often. As Sarah gazed at the faded photographs from her past, the lively woman she used to be seemed almost unrecognizable. Where had she disappeared to? What became of the woman who exuded joy and confidence? The realization she had yet to fully understand was that the way we showcase ourselves to the world influences not just how others see us, but also shapes our own self-perception. Personal appearance transcends mere vanity. It revolves around valuing oneself, embracing the essence of who you are, no matter your age. It's about being present for yourself, embracing your identity, and affirming your worth. What is the method to undo this? Begin with small, achievable actions. Put on your clothes, even if there's no particular occasion to attend. It doesn't need to be a high-end ensemble. Simply wear clean, well-fitting garments that bring you comfort and boost your self-esteem. Engaging in a shower, brushing your hair, and trimming your nails, these seemingly minor acts of self-care convey a significant message to oneself: I deserve this attention. Donning an outfit that resonates with your heart, something that sparks happiness within, can truly uplift your soul. The little nuances, such as a dash of fragrance or a cherished accessory, can truly transform the experience. They reflect your essence, the woman you have always been, and the one you continue to evolve into. As Sarah began to focus on these small rituals once more, brushing her hair, slipping into her favorite blouse, and adding a touch of lipstick, she discovered something enchanting unfolding. She began to feel a sense of lightness, an increase in confidence, and indeed, a renewed sense of beauty. As she entered the room, smiles began to spread among the crowd. She felt acknowledged. And, most significantly, she rediscovered her true self. It felt like the spirited woman she believed she had lost was subtly re-emerging, not only in the perceptions of those around her but also in her own self-reflection. Third in line. Developing an inflexible mindset and opposing transformation. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciate the lessons, please drop a comment with a 1 below to show me you're still with me. Sarah had always taken great pride in her ability to discern her preferences with clarity and precision. She was firmly entrenched in her habits, and that had consistently provided her with a sense of security. What's the point of altering something that has proven successful for so many years? However, when her children and grandchildren began to communicate via text messages rather than phone calls, Sarah was reluctant to adapt. She would wave off their offers to teach her, insisting that she didn't need to learn all that. If they wish to communicate with me, they can simply give me a call. However, as time passed, those phone calls dwindled significantly. Updates about family, along with pictures and birthday reminders, started coming in exclusively through group chats she chose not to participate in. At first, she was unaware, but she was isolating herself from those she cherished the most. It transcended mere technology. It revolved around maintaining connections, being involved in their journeys, and embracing affection. Yet, Sarah's unwavering resolve had started to create a distance between her and others. Change is an undeniable reality. As life progresses, it's natural to experience a sense of resistance when it seems as though the world is advancing without you. Yet, the key lies in maintaining an open mind. It's simple to declare, I don't require that, yet there lies a subtle power in expressing, I'll give it a shot. Embracing change, regardless of its size, maintains your engagement and sharpens your skills. There's no need to master everything in a single day. Begin with the little details. Allow your grandchildren to guide you in sending a text or enjoy a show that captivates them. Rather than turning away from change, welcome it with open arms. One often remains unaware of the treasures that lie beyond their current experiences until they take the leap to explore. When Sarah finally allowed her granddaughter to show her the ropes of texting, she was taken aback by its simplicity. What astonished her even further, however, was the surge of connections she had overlooked. Everyday snapshots of her great-grandchildren, shared laughter through inside jokes, and brief messages that reinforced her sense of belonging. By releasing her resistance, she found the ability to welcome something far more precious than mere advancements in technology. Link. It transcended mere texting. It was about maintaining connections with those who held the greatest significance. In this journey, she discovered not just new avenues for expression, but also a profound sense of love and connection within her relationships. Fourthly, clinging to clutter and resisting the urge to declutter. Sarah had always possessed a deep sense of sentimentality. For her, each object in her home was imbued with a narrative, a cherished memory, a fragment of history she found impossible to let go of. Amidst the forgotten birthday cards that had languished in shadows for decades, there were piles of newspapers she had vowed to read, someday, and garments that had long since been abandoned in her closet. Yet, the thought of parting with them was simply unbearable. She held on to them, just in case. Throughout the years, her formerly inviting abode, once a serene refuge, had evolved into a daunting labyrinth of possessions, filling every nook, every ledge, and every space. She could no longer ignore the truth. What was once a sanctuary had transformed into a war zone, cluttered with belongings she scarcely interacted with yet found impossible to part with. Initially, Sarah believed everything was fine. She assured herself that all things held significance. She frequently remarked, "I could find it useful one day." It provided a sense of security, warmth, and a soothing assurance to hold on to everything. Yet, in reality, the incessant disarray had started to stifle the essence of her home, her tranquility, and her very soul. As time went on, she realized she was becoming increasingly weary from the effort of attempting to tidy up and maneuver through the heaps. Maintaining her home in an orderly fashion grew increasingly challenging, making it difficult to locate essentials and even to extend invitations to others without a sense of embarrassment over the clutter. Her once welcoming space had transformed into a haunting echo of her past, a testament to her reluctance to let go of what no longer benefited her. When her daughter softly proposed that perhaps it was time to consider releasing a few things, Sarah fought against the idea with all her strength. "What if I require them in the future?" she contended. Yet, in truth, the chaos extended beyond her living space. It started to occupy her thoughts as well. The burden she carried weighed heavily upon her, obscuring the joy of the moment and shrouding her in a haze that dulled her sense of tranquility. It transcended mere possessions. It revolved around the weight of the feelings she had gathered over time with them. Releasing attachments is always a challenge, particularly when it seems as though a fragment of your soul is connected to every item. However, the reality is this. Clinging to excess, be it tangible items or emotional weight, can foster a feeling of stagnation, hindering progress and preventing one from fully engaging with the now. It's a quiet intruder that steals your clarity and tranquility. Sarah ultimately understood that to regain her sense of freedom, she needed to release her hold on the past. Escaping the chaos of clutter is a gradual journey. It demands a gentle approach, self-compassion, and the bravery to confront the reality that not everything you cling to is necessary. How does one even start to untangle this overwhelming chaos? Begin with the basics. Address each drawer, each shelf, each box individually. Envisioning the process of decluttering all at once can seem overwhelming, yet dividing it into smaller, more manageable segments transforms it into a far more approachable endeavor. Consider whether this is something you truly utilize. Does it spark joy within me? If the response is negative, then it's time to part ways. Give away items that could benefit others, recycle things that have lost their purpose, or share cherished belongings with family members who will appreciate them. Transform decluttering into a routine, an effortless part of your daily life. Establish a modest objective. Eliminate one item daily. A seemingly minor yet steady effort can result in significant change as time progresses. Moreover, we must consider the pragmatic side of everything. Disorder goes beyond merely causing mental strain. It may pose risks as well. This elevates the likelihood of falls, mishaps, and injuries. A dwelling transcends mere shelter. It ought to be a space that evokes safety, comfort, and tranquility. When Sarah finally made the bold choice to declutter, something enchanting unfolded. The burden eased from her shoulders, and the change was more than merely physical. She contributed garments that had long been untouched, repurposed aged magazines that had accumulated dust, and arranged her living area in a manner that facilitated the discovery of the items that genuinely held significance. Do you want to know something? After a long time, Sarah experienced a newfound tranquility within her home. It was not merely cleaner, it exuded a sense of lightness, brightness, and warmth that invited you in. A fresh wave of liberation washed over her, born from letting go of what once was and fully welcoming the now. And most importantly, she discovered a renewed enthusiasm for inviting friends over once more. A sensation that had eluded her for ages. 5. Sarah had never considered herself to be someone who easily loses patience with others. She consistently endeavored to embody kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. Yet, as time passed, she began to observe subtle fissures forming in her composure. Small instances where annoyance surged and she faltered in maintaining her poise. On a quiet afternoon, she found herself at the grocery store, patiently waiting in line with a cart brimming with various items. The young cashier moved slowly, struggling with the bags, and Sarah sensed her irritation growing. What is causing his sluggishness? Isn't there a way for him to pick up the pace? She pondered, her irritation beginning to simmer. The words slipped from her lips before she had a chance to hold them back. Could you please speed things up a bit? As soon as the words escaped her lips, she noticed the cashier's expression shift dramatically. He cast his gaze downward, his hands quivering ever so slightly as he endeavored to complete his task. That's when it struck her. The young man was inexperienced, anxious, and striving to give his all. And there she stood, lashing out at him as though he were the source of her frustration. A sudden wave of guilt washed over her. Was she transforming into the very individual she once held in disdain? The individual who was hasty to form opinions, swift to react, yet sluggish in extending kindness? The truth struck with intensity. As we age, it becomes increasingly common to find ourselves growing impatient with those around us. Life unfolds in its own rhythm, and it can be exasperating when the surroundings don't keep up with our desired tempo. However, the reality is that impatience complicates life not only for oneself but also for those around them. It complicates things for us as well. It heightens our stress, obscures our clarity, and taints our connections with those we meet. How can we cultivate patience and kindness, particularly when it seems like life is dragging on? The initial step is straightforward. Take a moment before responding. As irritation begins to surface, pause for a moment and inhale deeply. Should I really be bothered by this? Consider that the slow driver could be a beloved grandparent, and the cashier struggling with the bags might be a diligent student doing their utmost. Sometimes, a touch of patience can yield remarkable results. When frustration starts to rise, consider changing how you view the situation. Rather than reacting with frustration, extend a smile, share a kind word, or simply say, "Take your time." Sarah took this action the next time she encountered the same young cashier. With a warm smile, she praised his efforts and assured him that he was doing exceptionally well. His face illuminated with joy, and in that instant, Sarah understood the profound impact of kindness. A small gesture can truly brighten someone's day and lighten their load. Patience, ultimately, serves not only as a kindness to those around us but also as a profound blessing for our own well-being. Opting for patience instead of frustration fosters reduced stress, enhances interactions, and cultivates a more tranquil spirit. Sarah had always cherished the art of conversation. She possessed an abundance of tales to tell, wisdom to impart, and moments to revisit. Throughout the years, she had earned a reputation as the family's narrative weaver. However, a single issue arose. She was unaware of how frequently she took control of the discussions. One day, her daughter, who had been reaching out less frequently, finally decided to share her thoughts with her. "Mom, I cherish our conversations, but at times, I feel like my voice isn't being heard," her daughter admitted. "It seems that our conversations revolve entirely around you, leaving little room for me to express my thoughts." Sarah was taken aback. How could she have missed it? She came to understand that whenever they conversed, she would eagerly interject with her own experiences, tales, and counsel, hardly taking a moment to truly listen. In reality, Sarah had become so engrossed in imparting her insights that she overlooked the importance of allowing her daughter the opportunity to express herself, to truly be listened to. She was speaking, yet failing to hear. As we grow older, it becomes tempting to believe we possess all the solutions. We aim to convey the lessons we've learned, sharing the insights we've gathered throughout our journey. However, if we neglect to invest our time in listening, in genuinely understanding our loved ones, we run the danger of alienating them. Sarah confronted the truth that, in her eagerness to connect, she had inadvertently distanced herself from those she cherished the most. Achieving meaningful dialogue hinges on equilibrium. Take action. Pay attention. After sharing your thoughts for a moment, take a break and inquire, "How about you? How have you been faring lately?" Take the time to truly engage with what the other person is expressing. Hold back the impulse to interject, even when you have an intriguing tale to share. Allow the other individual the opportunity to express themselves. Pose questions that encourage genuine dialogue and exploration. Rather than just inquiring, "How have you been?" consider inquiring about an exciting event that took place this week. The next time Sarah spoke with her daughter, she deliberately focused on listening. She inquired further, allowed her daughter to express herself, and reserved her guidance for moments when it was genuinely necessary. The outcomes were truly remarkable. Their dialogues evolved into extended, heartfelt exchanges filled with significance. Sarah discovered that the most meaningful exchanges aren't driven by speaking frequently, but rather by the art of attentive listening. In that quiet moment of attentiveness, she found once more the exquisite nature of connection. Seventh in line. Isolating oneself rather than seeking support. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciate the lessons, kindly drop a 2 in the comments to show me you're still with me. Sarah had always taken great pride in her unwavering independence. It defined her essence, her very existence. For decades, she devoted herself to nurturing and caring for those around her. Nurturing her children with boundless affection, orchestrating a lively home with skillful precision, and extending a helping hand to neighbors in times of need. It was gratifying to feel essential, to be the person others rely on. Yet, as time went on, a shift began to unfold. The once straightforward tasks that she used to handle with ease started to loom before her as daunting challenges. On a particular afternoon, she found herself grappling with the challenge of lifting a hefty grocery bag from her car, her arms quivering under the burden. A young man strolled by and, seeing her in distress, approached with a warm smile, extending his assistance. "Could you use some assistance with that?" he inquired. With a sense of pride, Sarah managed to muster a smile and shook her head. "No, thank you. I can handle it." Yet she chose not to. She did not. As she pulled the cumbersome bag through the door, the strain in her back grew sharper, and a surge of frustration and loneliness enveloped her. "Every step weighed down on me more than the one before, not solely due to the physical exhaustion, but also because of the emotional burden of turning away from someone's generosity." She had distanced herself from a person who genuinely sought to assist, someone who recognized her difficulties and wished to alleviate them. In that instant, Sarah experienced a profound sense of isolation, deeper than she had ever known. Later that night, as she sat in the stillness of her home, the painful realization struck her like a chilling breeze. Her unwillingness to seek assistance, to embrace support, wasn't enhancing her strength. No, it was gradually distancing her from the very bonds that had once provided her solace. She opted for solitude instead of companionship, self-sufficiency rather than mutual reliance. What makes seeking assistance a demonstration of strength rather than a flaw? Seeking assistance is not a sign of weakness, rather, it opens the door for others to express their affection and support for you. Individuals truly desire to assist, yet if you persist in excluding them, ultimately, they will cease to extend their support. And when that moment arrives, you'll discover that you're not only weighed down physically, but also deprived emotionally. Embracing assistance nurtures bonds. It forges connections between souls, crafting instances of collective humanity that transcend the immediate objective. Whether it's opening a door, carrying a heavy burden, or lending a compassionate ear, allowing others to assist enriches life, not only in a physical sense but also on an emotional level. It's a gentle nudge that we are not intended to face our battles in solitude. When you allow others to feel valuable, you are bestowing upon them a precious gift. Can you envision a world where your assistance was never required? You might sense a lack of significance, a feeling of being unnecessary. Why not embrace the opportunity for others to share in the joy of helping you? Sarah understood that a transformation was necessary. The next time assistance was offered, she vowed to herself that she would let go of her pride. She would agree. The next time she found herself at the store and spotted that young man again, Sarah offered a warm smile and said, "Actually, I could use a little help today." His expression lit up, and as he took the bag from her grasp, Sarah sensed a release, not from her shoulders, but from her heart. In that brief moment, a profound change stirred within her. She experienced a profound sense of recognition, worth, and, above all, a deep connection. Have you ever experienced the challenge of reaching out for assistance or felt the satisfaction of extending a hand to another? This experience serves as a profound reminder of our shared journey and interconnectedness. It's perfectly fine to allow others to be a part of your world. 8. Living excessively stingy to savor life's pleasures. Sarah had consistently exemplified financial wisdom. With an innate talent for managing finances, she eagerly clipped coupons, effortlessly forewent vacations, and took her time deliberating over any non-essential purchase. Even with a decent sum tucked away, a persistent unease lingered in the recesses of her thoughts. What happens if I require this money in the future? What if an unforeseen event occurs? The act of saving was an unending loop, a relentless pursuit of accumulation. But for what purpose? What was the purpose of amassing riches if she wasn't embracing the life she envisioned? One day, Sarah received an invitation from her best friend, Emily, for a weekend getaway to the countryside. "It will be an absolute blast, Sarah," Emily exclaimed, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. "We will embark on an adventure, savor delicious cuisine, and unwind in tranquility." Sarah's first reaction was to decline. Traveling involved financial expenditure. Dining out involved parting with cash. Every aspect of it filled her with unease. What if I feel remorse over that expenditure? Yet, beneath the surface, a quiet voice murmured, "When did I last indulge in a little self-care?" For years, Sarah had existed in the belief of preparing for a future moment. As she stood there, gazing at Emily's invitation, Sarah found herself lost in thought. What if that day never arrives? What is the purpose of saving if I'm not experiencing life in the present? What is the significance of taking pleasure in your finances? Practicing financial responsibility is certainly crucial. Yet, existence transcends merely accumulating wealth. It's all about existence. Genuinely experiencing life. Experiences, such as travel, outings, or hobbies, offer a deeper and more enduring joy than any material possession ever can. Research indicates that investing in experiences fosters lasting memories that endure well beyond the moment the purchase is made, whereas material possessions, such as objects, gadgets, and clothing, tend to diminish in value over time. Sarah had dedicated herself tirelessly throughout her life to reach this point, to establish a foundation of financial stability. Yet, security devoid of fulfillment resembles a hollow container. Achieving a fulfilling life hinges on finding equilibrium. Relishing the rewards of your hard work only enhances your accomplishments. It pays tribute to them. What steps can Sarah take to alter this habit? She chose to allow herself the freedom to indulge, to savor the small joys of life. Whether it was a dinner out, a spontaneous hobby, or a weekend getaway, she promised to embrace experiences that enriched her spirit. She even established a playful account, a dedicated fund solely for her enjoyment. When Emily extended the invitation for the weekend trip again, Sarah felt no hesitation this time. She accepted, and how everything changed. In those 2 days, her laughter echoed more than it had in months. She basked in the warmth of the sun on her face, savored the delight of delicious food shared with cherished companions, and, above all, rediscovered the art of living life to the fullest. As she sat beside Emily, watching the sunset unfold, a profound realization washed over her. this was the moment she had been waiting for all along. The instances, the recollections, the bond. Wealth was intended to enhance her joy, not merely remain idle in a financial institution. What experience have you been delaying due to financial constraints? Life doesn't pause for your preparation. The moment has arrived. Item 9. Condescending towards the younger generations. Sarah cherished her grandson, Noah. His visits brought a spark to her week. She found joy in listening to his stories about school, his interests, and particularly his enthusiasm for video games. However, in recent times, those visits seemed to carry a different weight, a sense of distance. Their dialogues had turned tense, uncomfortable even. She observed that Noah seemed less inclined to engage in conversation, more focused on his phone than on their shared moments. One afternoon, Noah excitedly introduced a new app he had discovered. In a moment of exasperation, Sarah let out a sigh and gently shook her head. "In my time, we managed just fine without all this modern technology." Children ventured outdoors to engage in play, rather than fixate on screens throughout the day. Noah fell silent. A few moments later, he muttered, "I should probably be on my way." The door clicked shut behind him, leaving Sarah in solitude, the piercing ache of regret settling heavily in her chest. She never intended to create distance between them, yet that's exactly what she did. Her words, intended to convey insight, only left him feeling overlooked and unvalued. In her effort to reach out, she had inadvertently erected a barrier between them. What is it about condescending communication with younger generations that drives them away? It's simple to become ensnared in the fond memories of yesteryears, yet persistently telling the younger generation that the past was superior can diminish the significance of their own experiences and struggles. Rather than promoting comprehension, it breeds separation. Each generation encounters distinct challenges and struggles, and rather than casting judgment, we ought to uplift them, providing support and encouragement. What steps can Sarah take to alter this habit? The next time Noah brought up something novel, Sarah inhaled deeply and replied, "That sounds intriguing. Elaborate further." She didn't overlook it. Instead, she embraced curiosity. She took the time to grasp his perspective, posing inquiries that allowed him to feel acknowledged. As Noah laid out his game strategy, a remarkable transformation unfolded. They forged a bond, not via critique, but through shared admiration. Their dialogue unfolded effortlessly, and for the first time in ages, they experienced a moment of true intimacy. How about you? Have you ever found it challenging to connect with younger generations? What facilitated the connection? At times, the focus isn't on transforming them. It's about grasping their perspective, viewing the world from their vantage point, and connecting with them in their current state. 10. Clinging to past grievances and missed opportunities. Clinging to grudges and regrets resembles lugging a burdensome load that gradually depletes your strength, piece by piece. It transcends mere mental strain. It infiltrates every aspect of your existence, robbing you of current happiness and obscuring your viewpoint. Whenever you linger on past hurts, you miss out on the splendor of the here and now. Have you ever found yourself reflecting on a past injustice or betrayal, and in that moment, it feels as though you're not just revisiting the hurt, but the very world around you seems to lose its brightness? That's the hold of bitterness. Holding tightly to those negative memories only serves to pull you further away from the love and joy that envelopes you in the present moment. It's a hard truth to face, yet resentment can subtly undermine connections. It slips in quietly, often overlooked, complicating the bonds with those you hold dear. Unbeknownst to you, that resentment silently builds into a barrier that separates you from those you hold dear. In the most troubling scenarios, it can transform into a simmering rage, accumulating gradually, until your heart feels encased in stone, leaving you to ponder the reasons behind your solitude, even amidst a throng of people. And we must consider the impact it has on your well-being. Grudges and regrets transcend mere emotional baggage. It's a tension that remains within you. The ongoing strain and pessimism can elevate your blood pressure, disrupt your sleep, and potentially harm your immune system. It may be tempting to brush it aside, yet within, you recognize its impact on you. One cannot escape the repercussions of clinging to past suffering. If you're still engaged with this video and appreciate the lessons, please drop a 3 in the comments to show me you're still with me. How can you release your burdens and discover the emotional liberation that is rightfully yours? It begins with embracing the difficult reality that the past is irreversible. What has happened is irrevocable, and regardless of how often you revisit those moments in your thoughts, they remain unchanged. Rather than questioning, "Why did this occur to me?" consider approaching that question from a different angle. Inquire, "What insights can I gain from this experience?" By taking this step, you liberate yourself from the hold of what has been and enable yourself to create a future that is more vibrant and fulfilling. Letting go is essential. Not for the one who caused you pain, but for your own well-being. Forgiveness does not mean condoning poor actions. Instead, you are unleashing its influence on you. You are liberating yourself. It's a difficult reality, but releasing those grudges is not an indication of frailty. It requires bravery and resilience. It's about reclaiming authority over your existence, your tranquility, and your emotions. Shifting your focus can be challenging, yet when you find yourself falling back into familiar patterns of resentment, take a moment to pause and steer your thoughts towards something uplifting in the present. Consider crafting a letter that conveys all the emotions and thoughts you've kept bottled up. Then, shred it, incinerate it, or allow it to float away, understanding that it's the moment to let go of everything. You deserve at least that much. Sarah's narrative is a reflection of this journey. For years, she bore the weight of old wounds. One evening, holding a piece of paper, she resolved it was time to release everything. She bared her soul on that page, every regret, every wound. With a deep breath, she finally let them go. At that instant, a transformation occurred within her. After what seemed like an eternity, she experienced a sense of lightness, a newfound freedom. The burden that had weighed her down for years was finally lifted, granting her the freedom to move ahead. 11. Disregarding health issues. Overlooking health issues may initially appear to be an easy way out. Who is eager to confront the chance that something might be amiss? Yet, this refusal, this evasion, can prove to be exceedingly perilous. Minor signs that we often overlook may serve as the body's subtle alerts to more significant issues at play. The dizziness you've been experiencing? It might be dehydration, or perhaps something more serious, like an early indication of a stroke. That weariness you often link to the passage of time? It might be an undetected heart condition. We frequently assure ourselves that it's trivial, or that it will eventually fade away. However, the reality is that postponing checkups ultimately results in more severe consequences later on. Minor concerns, if ignored, can escalate into significant health emergencies. What holds us back from taking action? What leads us to persuade ourselves that it's acceptable to overlook something that feels off? Perhaps it's due to our constant busyness and preoccupation with various tasks that we overlook the signals our bodies are sending us. Perhaps we fear the truths that may come to light. However, the reality is that overlooking those warning signs does not make them vanish. It simply exacerbates the situation. It's always simpler to prevent issues than to deal with them once they arise. Through minor changes in our daily habits, such as enhancing our nutrition or incorporating consistent physical activity, we can prevent significant health crises. Taking the time to prioritize our well-being is a profound act of self-appreciation, yet it is something we frequently neglect. Sarah discovered this truth through a difficult experience. Following her fall, which left her grappling with pain in the hospital, she came to understand how effortlessly she had neglected her well-being. She believed she could simply push through, convinced that the dizziness was merely a consequence of aging. However, that autumn, that jarring realization, shifted her perspective entirely. She vowed to herself that she would never overlook the subtle hints again. She would pay attention to her body, prioritize her well-being, and cease neglecting her health. She began to increase her water intake, enroll in balance classes, and arrange consistent appointments with her doctor. Regaining authority over her well-being didn't equate to sacrificing her autonomy. It signified accepting it, by assuming responsibility for her well-being before the situation deteriorated. And that's the insight we can all take away from Sarah. Take a moment to reflect. Have you been overlooking a message that your body has been attempting to convey to you? Act before the moment slips away. Your well-being deserves your utmost attention. Seize the moment and act without delay. Embrace the opportunity to experience a life that is rich and full of energy. It begins with attuning yourself to the subtle messages your body conveys. In the stillness of her living room, Sarah leafed through dusty photo albums, nostalgia washing over her as she recalled a time brimming with laughter, joy, and vibrant moments. She glimpsed images of herself enjoying moments with her grandkids, twirling at family gatherings, beaming in the sunlight. She came to understand that at some point, she had ceased to pursue that particular kind of happiness. Life had settled into a monotonous pattern, lacking excitement. However, when Emily extended an invitation for a movie night, Sarah hesitated. Still, a part of her chose to agree. That night, as the laughter bubbled up from deep within her, Sarah sensed a part of herself come to life. The happiness that had been hidden for ages lingered, eager to be unearthed once more. For the first time in ages, she recalled the sensation of laughing so hard that her stomach ached and tears streamed down her cheeks. Joy is a remedy for the spirit. It's more than mere amusement or entertainment. It plays an essential role in our emotional and physical health. It reduces stress, enhances immunity, promotes circulation, and even aids in memory retention. The act of laughter has the power to unite us, deepening connections and fostering meaningful relationships. As we grow older, laughter serves as a reminder that our hearts can still embrace youthfulness. It's a soft encouragement to find happiness and to welcome the little joys that life presents. As Sarah departed from Emily's home that evening, she felt a sense of upliftment, coming to the understanding that happiness isn't merely a chance encounter, it's a deliberate choice one makes. The following morning, rather than tuning into the news or allowing her usual routine to shape her day, she turned up her favorite music and twirled around her kitchen. The instant of laughter, the choice to welcome joy back into her existence, marked the start of something truly beautiful. It's always the right time to choose what's best for you. Seize the moment without hesitation. Bring it to life. Select happiness. As we contemplate the significance of releasing grudges, focusing on our well-being, and embracing joy in our lives, consider the insights you've gained today. What struck a chord with you the most? Perhaps it's the strength found in forgiveness or the way laughter serves as the ultimate remedy for both body and spirit. Or perhaps it's the undeniable reality that overlooking health signals can lead to significant repercussions. Pause for a moment and reflect on a single lesson you've encountered today that you can incorporate into your life. I would be delighted to receive your thoughts. What is a lesson you are dedicated to embracing as you move ahead? We'd love to hear your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Your encouragement is invaluable to us.